Donations closed. Game of Thrones. Hi, welcome to Hell of Thrones. I'm Claw Billie, and I don't want to do this. I needed rent, so I offered to watch Game of Thrones for $1,000. Less than 4 hours from the end, we were hovering at 755, and then, Hail Mary, $245 dropped in with 4 hours left on the campaign. What? Okay. With 4 hours to go. What the? Thank you, Viagra Falls. Oh, or Anonymous. Oops. No. No. And now I have to sit through this show. I don't have to read the books. That was a stretch goal. It's a show people have been trying to get me to watch for a decade. I don't think I would like it. Now I'm gonna find out, because my friends who love me decided I should watch a show that I would rather saw my own foot off because it's 2020 and things aren't bad enough. But I did this to myself because I'm a glutton for punishment. Also, I'm a glutton for having a home, and I don't want to lose it. And it's very hard to find work when there's COVID in the air. So who am I? Great question. Let's move on. I don't want to bog you down with details. What am I, Movie Bob? How's this gonna go? I'm gonna watch the whole show in 8 days. After every episode, a 10-minute confessional. I'll make them into episodes. You're here to watch the first one. Am I going it alone? Kind of. We'll get to that. What were the perks? Well, if you donated, you got a fun little remix of the song from me, which I don't know if I can legally play here. If you gave $100, you get to watch an episode with me, skipping back a step, because fuck it. If you gave $50, you get 30 seconds to say whatever you want to my big stupid Game of Thrones not wanting to watch face, and I have to sit here and take it. Let's do that now, shall we? Viagra Falls, officially designated
the Lord of Hell of Thrones, for donating $245,
had this to say to my Game of Thrones disliking face.
Hey, Claw Billie. Good luck. But also congratulations for reaching $1,000 so you can watch Game of Thrones. And then we can talk about it later, and we can complain about it, and also talk about the parts that were great. Yeah. Also, this is Viagra Falls. You already know that. Yeah! Have fun!
So that was Viagra Falls, but I already knew that. Thanks, Viagra. Thanks for the money. What a strange, complicated whirlpool of emotions that I'm swirling in, 'cause you are a dear friend for helping me eat. But also, let's move on. Who else gave money? Sergeant, what a champ. Gave just a little bit every paycheck, and ultimately it added up to $205. Gets to watch 2 episodes with me, as does Viagra Falls. I'll reveal which episodes they selected in a later episode. Isn't that exciting? I don't know. Graphics.
Hey Billy, I hope this finds you well, and I really hope that you get some sort of entertainment out of Game of Thrones. Personally, I never actually watched past the first season, so I hope you can actually explain to me what the actual hell happens later on in the series. Anyway, again, I hope you have a good time.
That was very genuine and sweet. Thank you, Sergeant. I will enjoy eating food and having a home. End of list. Great. Here's another absolute bestie who loves me. It's Grace Burry, who I'm pretty sure has had some wine and weed tonight.
Hey Billy, as a Game of Thrones fan, I just want to be one of the first to say that I never asked for this and I regret this donation deeply. But as your friend, I want to say congratulations on getting the funding. I'm very excited for you on this journey, and I can't wait to watch your attempts to ruin a show that's already been destroyed by the writers themselves. Love you, bitch.
Thank you, Grace. You're a peach. Grace has 1 point for burning a show she loves. It's hard to do. And by that I mean like onto a Blu-ray. Like, do they even make those anymore? I don't know. This show is improvised. Cut to something. And the last person to send me a video, though not the last person to give $50 or more, but deadlines are hard, is Matthew Bernier. Let's see what Matthew Bernier has to say.
Hey Billy, I hope the crowdfund goes well and you get your rent paid, but most of all, I hope that you enjoy all 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, a show that has only 7 seasons.
Matthew is mocking the fact that when I started this campaign, I genuinely believed that Game of Thrones only had 7 seasons. I think some fans would prefer that. So those are my friends who paid to put their face in my room, because they can't put their actual faces in my room. Everything is hell. It's 12 minutes after midnight on October 1st. I'm gonna go hit the hay. And then when I wake up, an entire season of Game of Thrones, a show I want to punch, somehow. Just send me the DVDs. I'll punch it. Sure. We're going to talk about the show. And when I say we're going to talk about it, I mean I'm going to talk about it. Am I going to take notes? No. You shouldn't need them to enjoy a show. That's my stance. I'm going to watch it as fast as humanly possible. If I somehow still can't follow it, that's the show's fault. Anyway, I love you. Cool transition. It's Thronepocalypse. So every episode of this show is like an hour and 2 minutes, 58 minutes. I thought it was going to be more like a 45. Starting off the day already shitty. I'm updating my Apple TV because apparently it doesn't know what HBO is right now. Oh, God. Okay. Let's Throne. My Apple TV no longer has HBO. So anyway, episode 1, season 1, I believe is called Winter is Coming, which I'll now be watching on the iPad that I used to film the show. The lighting is going to jump around because I'm making this on my own. You know every YouTuber you like, their parents have money, right? Phone off. My vow to you. Phone off. Phone off. My vow to you. Phone off. Hell of Thrones! Season 1, Episode 1, Winter is Coming, Confessional begins now. I got 10 minutes. I have already seen this episode. Had so much trouble getting through it again. I kept picking my phone, which was off up a lot. I suppose I should say, like, high fantasy is not really my genre. I like fantasy. Like, I like The Neverending Story. I like The Little Mermaid. I like Mannequin. Swords and kings and having to keep track of lineages has never really done it for me. A lot of characters, so many characters. I knew that going in. Everybody tells me there's so many characters. Some of my favorite characters include the guy in brown who's always talking about his family, the guy in brown who's always talking about his family, the guy in brown who's always talking about his family, the girl who really hates the girl stuff she's expected to do, the girl who really hates the girl stuff she's expected to do, and then there's this girl who, get this, doesn't like the girl stuff she's expected to do. And Aquaman! Yeah! And then I realized, like, everyone in this movie kind of looks somewhere on the slider between Terrence Stamp and Michael Shannon. So it's from Zod to Zod, and most people look like him with the size sliders fucked with a little bit. Like, a lot of people just look the same. It's almost like the show's not very diverse or something. Like, there's a lot of scenes where I feel like I think, oh, I'm supposed to be going, that was really neat. But it doesn't really pop for me. Different people like different things. That's fine. It's cool. Embrace it. I've never watched this show because it doesn't seem to be my thing. I'm so curious how this show's gonna age, because for my money, I think a lot of people liked it because, oh, you don't see that on TV. Like, no, you don't watch someone on Quantum Leap. For the record, I actually feel like most HBO dramas I'm not really interested in. They do kind of feel like, ooh, my parents might walk in naughty, and like they feel adult, but they're actually just kind of like porny and edgy. My dear sweet bestie Dragon Mommy Grace, pictured here, she says that the character that I am most like is Tyrion Lannister. Things I know about Tyrion Lannister: he was in a pile of sex, and at one point he talked about make fun of the thing that other people make fun of you for first. And so I get it now, Dragon Mommy. I understand. I feel like Tyrion also has elements of you're supposed to like him, but I don't know if I'll like him. All dwarves are bastards to their... There's gonna be a lot of me pausing and going, should I say that? Because I think this show really revels in, you're not supposed to say that, you're not supposed to do that. Like, yeah, oh, you're so cool for saying a thing you shouldn't say. That gets us terrible presidents. And I'm gonna go there! I think we have Trump because of Game of Thrones! I think I don't have a job because of the president who have a Game of Thrones. Anyway, characters I can name. You're gonna have to work with my brain here. The guy who's Fred Flintstone in Viva Rock Vegas, and the guy who's the bad James Bond in GoldenEye. They were talking about uniting their houses. Daenerys is uniting kingdoms by fucking some guy. I'm gonna guess her brother is like, I want you to fuck a army of horses or whatever. The little one with the cute face. Ding, TM. The little one with the cute face wants to do arrows, but is expected not to do arrows and is expected to do needlepoint. I get it. I can see why people relate to that character, but also it just feels so on the nose for how you write a female character nowadays. Is just, oh, she doesn't like girl things. I don't know. I hope there's some girls that like girl things in this show. I like girl things. More girl things, please. I was really bored. I didn't care about whose family, whose house, this, that, the other thing. I couldn't tell anyone apart. My favorite fiction is either we're all on a spaceship and we wear identical pajamas because we as characters don't matter, or we all have different superpowers and we literally have a thing on our chest that tells you which guy we are. Those are the narratives I can follow, cause I be a dumb. Remember, not liking Game of Thrones isn't a personality, but it is a valid choice. The next one's called King of the Road. Season 1, Episode 2, The Kingsroad. Timer starts now! And we need to talk about what is probably the most important scene in the entirety of Game of Thrones. There's a scene where Tyrion Lannister gets breakfast. He asks for his bacon burnt black. He then sits down with members of his family and proceeds to pick the bacon off of their plates. The bacon he picks off of their plates is kind of a golden brown. And from the Foley, it seems very chewy.
Still can't believe you're going
Back.
I think this scene is telling us everything we need to know about Tyrion. Tyrion wants what Tyrion wants, but Tyrion takes what Tyrion can get. That, or it's just a really bad Foley choice and a really bad prop, but it can't be that. It can't be that. Because he also had a Starbucks latte with his... We'll get to that. That's later down the road.
There was a cup on the show. There was a cup on the show. Everybody talks about the cup on the show.
It's time for our first regular segment! Regular segment is a regular segment where I come up with a brand new regular segment. Today's regular segment is Classic Tyrion. My perfect, sweet, amazing dragon mommy, Grace, says that I am like Tyrion. So, here on Classic Tyrion, we look at a trait of Tyrion and then ask, why does Grace see me in this character? There was a scene in this episode where Tyrion is reading a book and won't shut up about how much he reads. Is that how you see me, Grace? Genuinely, I can see why Tyrion is a character that people who watch this show like. They're probably going to Ren fairs and reading books about swordcraft, and they want everyone to know that they're always reading. So Tyrion's their guy. I think the moment in this episode that resonated the most with me was not Tyrion bragging about reading a lot, but in fact, Dany's spa day with the hot manicurist. As a lesbian, I did not expect to see anything I would relate to in this show. But then, suddenly, hot manicurist, pinning her down, telling her to take what's hers. What's hers is the hot manicurist. And then she goes back to Kal-El, Aquaman? Yeah! No, Dany, girl. The 90s lesson for women is get on top, take what's yours from your boring husband. I feel like the modern lesson is get out of there and get with the hot manicurist. They had so much chemistry. A 180 from what she and Khal have. I don't get Dany's character. I've had people tell me that, like, oh yeah, Dany, maybe that was the no scene that I was supposed to enjoy so much. The first one made me wince, and this one, you know, the scene in the beginning where she's like crying and staring at her eggs, that just hurt. Like literally, you know, look away and think of something else and then smile. So I know this is a show where people scheme and they have like things they're cooking up, so she had one of those faces that said, I've got an idea. Just like, you know, I think a lot of characters are gonna make I have an idea faces, and then 4 seasons later, I'm going to find out what that idea was. All right, I don't have much time left. A trope that I'm enjoying so far is Suddenly Wolf! Welcome to another regular segment called Suddenly Wolf, where if a scene is not interesting, a wolf makes it better. Like, I won't say not interesting, but like if a scene is just kind of like, oh, okay, some action's happening, suddenly wolf! And it's great. More of that. I want every episode to have suddenly wolf. Interestingly, it reminded me of the Aquaman movie. If you haven't seen it, anytime a scene is going on too long, suddenly explosion! So I love that Jason Momoa, yeah, I know his name, is in 2 things that use that tactic of like, this scene's boring. Could use a little wolf! Wolf! 2 great scenes. One was someone whose name I can't remember. Get used to that. Getting attacked by a guy. She fights him off. Is that interesting enough? Suddenly, wolf! The other scene is when the small one with the cute face is fighting with Prince We Hate Him. And suddenly, wolf! And I just realized there's 2 scenes where women fight and then a wolf does it for them. Subtext? I know I've seen this episode. I think I finished this episode, and then I got about 5 minutes into the next one, and then said, this isn't for me. I don't know how, though, because Dany and the Manny! Woo! I have 39 seconds left. Viva Rock Vegas King there, or no, he's not a king. I don't know, he was just like randomly talking about tits, and I feel like people watch this show and go, the good old days when you could just talk like this. And anyway, those people vote. Bran woke up. This is interesting, I guess, but it's no Dany and the Manny. So yeah, that's episode 2. Season 3, episode 1, Lord Snow, here we Lord go. Right at the beginning of the episode, I suddenly went, Punisher? The guy who looks like the hunky prince from Shrek 2, I think the hunky prince from Shrek 2 is the Punisher. Am I wrong? If that's him, I have no way of knowing. I'm not gonna look anything up until this whole project is done. That's my fucking air conditioner. I'm suffering for your entertainment. Classic Tyrion moment. There it is. Tyrion, quick with a sex joke. Tyrion also disarms the situation by his words. I'm not saying I'm like Tyrion, 100%. I think in all fiction, you kind of latch onto the character who is the power fantasy that you have. And I think right now, yeah, Tyrion, like, just kind of being sassy and snarky and solving things with words. I really like. So that's my classic Tyrion moment for this episode. What else? The lady that tells stories to Bran while she knits, I could not see as anything other than a George R.R. Martin stand-in. Like, she's all like, what kind of story do you want to hear? And he's like, something scary. She's like, I know a story about women killing their own babies. You like that? You like that shit? You like that sick shit? And I just felt like that was George R.R. Martin being like, I know what you like. Yeah, Daddy knows what you like, and I'm gonna give it to you. What else happened in this episode? I don't know. Here's the thing. This show is a lot of people who want things, and I don't care who wants what. I can't keep track of the characters. There's the guy that looks exactly like Gary Oldman from the Lost in Space movie. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't know what his deal is. He was talking to some dumpy lady who was mad he was at a whorehouse. Can I say a whorehouse? If there are whores in this house, see? If you were watching a recap show back when Game of Thrones came out, you don't get your WAP references. I didn't follow what they were doing. King Flintstone there. More people probably know him from the Full Monty, but just like, he's burned in my brain as Viva Rock Vegas Fred Flintstone. He told some fucking speech about I killed guys and this, that, and the other thing, and just a lot of gruff speeches about stuff. I genuinely love stories about shitty people, but like, I tend to like the Martin Scorsese style, and I think it's because it's recent enough in time that I can relate to it somewhat. Like, I like stories that are like, hey, these people are awful, but like, so are you on some level. I like stories like that. But I think when you put them in a medieval setting, I don't give a shit anymore. I've never cut anyone with a sword as of this recording. I know it's just a mood and a feeling, and you don't have to relate to it one-on-one, and I know a lot of things in fiction are metaphor, and no, you've never literally thrown a battle axe through somebody's dick, but like, you've had a day at work where you really feel like you threw a battle axe through the dick of that problem. As soon as any speech about like, if you've never seen the look in a man's eyes as you take everything from him, like, I just... Cut to Leonardo DiCaprio doing a cocaine rip, or Ray Liotta running from a helicopter. Maybe we'll talk, but like, until that moment, I don't know, this just isn't my speed. What else do I want to talk about? Oh! No hot manicurist, but Danny got felt up by her hairstylist, and like, I think Danny's like, lesbian beauty squad needs to be a thing. Like, she's just got this pack of beautiful lesbians, and like, anytime she's around them, she's always like, and then she runs back to Aquaman. Damn! What the hell? Oh, fuck, that reminds me. Tyrion mentioned mermaids? Are there mermaids in this show? Nobody tell me, but if there's mermaids in this show, that's gonna fucking slap. Damn! There was an episode where they talk about like the moon-hatched dragons. I want to see if that's real or not. I like that the show has its own mythology within it, and you don't know what's real and what's not. What else? I got 2 minutes. It was neat when Tyrion pissed off a wall. I don't know. It's just something so satisfying about watching him piss off a wall. Gosh, what else? What else? Classic stand-up vamp. What else? Oh, the sword fighting instructor. Yeah, no, the sword fighting instructor came on and I was like, oh, thank God, this show has a fun character. Yes, thank God. It's not all dour and mopey. This guy fucking rules. I want more of him. Also, small one with a cute face. The names haven't stuck yet, but I think they're gonna eventually. Want to say Ariel. Damn! So in Ariel, there were a few scenes where like Ariel gets called boy. Ariel says, I'm no lady. Trans Aria, small one with a cute face. Maisie Williams, I believe. Just felt like super trans, or like shattering the gender binary. Definitely found that relatable. So that got me really excited, but I want the show to, I'm afraid the show's gonna handle it in a 90s feminism kind of way. But still, hashtag Aria, trans Aria, or just, non-binary Aria, I don't know, something. Gender smacking. Go stab gender with your needle. Woo! Season 1, Episode 4. Cripples, Bastards, and Bears, oh my. 10 minutes, kick it right off the bat. Danny's Manny is back. Oh my gosh, Danny and the Manny. Oh, my heart. Danny's Manny is back. Was not expecting it. Why? Well, I know this is a show where, like, you can't quite predict what's going to happen and who's going to die and who's going to come back and whatnot. But, like, I've been conditioned so far by the show that when anyone has a smokier eye than Sheryl Crow, I will never see them again. There's just something about the makeup on, like, oh, this person is expendable, and you can tell it's because they got the hot eyes. Khal Drogo, I believe, is the exception here. Check them out. So I was so excited that Danny's manicurist came back, but to fuck Danny's brother? Boo! Hate it. Why? Danny, Manny, lock hands, run away. Is this what's known as queer baiting? Well, I don't know. Let's ask Jon Snow and his best bud Sam. Cause they also seem real chummy friendly. They're both virgins. Ha ha ha. Hope they experiment during those cold late nights at the wall. Brief tangent. I know that every joke that has been made about this show was made 10 years ago. So sorry, I'm new here. But Sam is absolutely Sam from Lord of the Rings, right? Like, that's one that we can go, George, what the fuck? You just blatantly said, and we'll give him a friend named Sam. Why the fuck not? Samwise, Samwell, Gamgee, whatever the fuck his name is in this. I've been calling him Emo Jonah Hill. You could also say he looks like a JonTron, but I don't know what one of those is. I will say, I'm still really struggling to keep characters in my head, what the fuck they're on about, who they're related to. I know that Prince Shrek Punisher there, Punishrek. I know Punishrek is fucking his sister, who I think is named Cersei, but not because the show told me, because I'm pretty sure I know that Cersei is the one from 300. So I've committed to keeping my phone down the whole time I watch. And I gotta be honest, I think I'd be having a better time if I had my phone. Stop me if you've heard this one. Game of Phones. I don't care what most of the characters are talking about, but every once in a while a scene will be fun. Today's fun scene was Joust, but even then, crunch. That was it. I wish I could fill the time with stuff I don't care about, and I know I'm watching the show wrong and I should be paying attention. I'm actually a huge advocate for paying attention to shows. Like, genuinely, I don't like when people are on their phone during a show, but that said, they also should watch a show they actually want to watch. I don't want to watch this show. I'm doing it because you paid me. It's been interesting to, like, constantly always want my phone. I turn it all the way off for every episode, but I just, like, involuntary. I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, great. We gotta stop the king. Oh, yeah, we gotta unite the houses. Whatever. Do not give a fuck. Oh, this is a thing I need to note. Twice this episode, there were scenes with characters that I had to stop and go, have I met any of these people yet? One scene was like a guy walking along and some other guy interrupts him, and I was like, who the fuck are these guys? And, like, I've probably seen them, but I don't remember it. And then later in the tavern, there was, like, the bard and some beardy guy and some redhead that I think is important, but the show is going out of its way to make her forgettable. And then finally I was like, I think you're the wife of someone we care about. I think it's Sean Bean's wife. Yeah, I think it's Sean Bean's wife. A queen? No, not a queen? I don't know. This show is like a yearbook that is from a city you've never been to. And as I say this example, some people would find that fascinating. Yeah, I want to pour through old yearbooks and wonder who these people are. That's great, but it doesn't grip me as a narrative. The show just doesn't stay in my head, and I want to be fair about this. I have the same problem with shows that I like. When I watch Star Trek, and my friends are in the room, I have to go like, oh, it's the blue guys. No, not the hairdresser, but yeah. And then a friend is right there to be like, these guys, here's their deal. We last saw them in this episode. And I'm like, great. I love being friends with nerds. This is probably a show I should be watching with people. And yet, I think it's just not for me, and it's okay to say that. And I'm doing this to force myself to try a new thing, while also admitting I think I was probably right that it's not for me. But I don't know, maybe we'll just get over a hump and I'll start to dig it, and we'll see what happens. Season 1 episode 5. I think it was called The Wolf and the Lion. Yeah. I do believe I am beyond the point that I can pay attention. I think I have let enough things slip my mind that I don't know what's happening and there's no coming back from it. I've reached the point where, like, if my mind wanders for 30 seconds, who was that baby? Oh shit, something is important. I hope they reiterate it later. The previously on Game of Thrones have been helpful, but not helpful enough. I'm struggling here. The names are starting to solidify. It's no secret that I like to make up my own funny names until I remember them. I think... Nope, I don't know Punisher's name yet. And I actually still don't know if it's the Punisher. I'm pretty sure. On this next episode, I'm going to look at the opening credits and see if it says John Bernthal. I'm pretty sure it's him. I just watched Ford v Ferrari like a week ago. Things I like, though. Sword fights. Yay, it's sword fight time. I feel like it's been a while since we've had some real good ting-tings. So... I like ting-tings. I like when they're more stylized and choreographed. These are a little brawlier, but like still enough that I'm like, this is some good action. Things get kind of brutal. Redhead, who I think is married to Sean Bean, has stolen Tyrion for reasons I don't know. I missed it. I know they held him at sword point, and they were like, "You're coming with us" or whatever. King Flintstone and Cersei, Baratheon, they're starting. I think Baratheon like had that weird conversation about how they hate each other, and that's gotten them through the years. And like, is this a show for conservatives? Because the romance. There's a lot of battle discussion and like, you know, cool metaphors. Like he did that whole like 5-1 who wins, and like, you know, fisting always wins for me. Classic Tyrion time! What qualities of Tyrion Lannister do I see in myself? This is the episode where they revealed that he's quite talented with his fingers and tongue. Hey, can I talk about Star Trek for a little? It's me, you have to put up with it. I keep coming back to Star Trek because that is a complicated world, not unlike Game of Thrones, but it is very fundamentally different in the way that it functions. Number 1, tight episodic stories. Number 2, it is a science fiction show, not a fantasy show. I'm not about to get into one being better than the other. That's all bullshit. But what I'm realizing is that one thing that is kind of not working for me about Game of Thrones is on Star Trek, you have 3 kinds of mysteries to solve. And those mysteries are science mysteries, diplomacy mysteries, and combat mysteries. I'm just now realizing that Game of Thrones doesn't have any science mysteries. Or do they? Because this episode had Tyrion get stuck in a prison with no way out. And now my brain is hungry. Like, what is he going to devise to get out? Will it be a science solution? Or, knowing Tyrion, will it be a diplomacy solution? Who will he talk to? Who can help him? How can he get help? I really hope it's not like somebody swooping in and helping him, or a suddenly wolf! And it doesn't have to be science. In fantasy, it is often a magic mystery, and there's very little magic in the show so far. A thing that I don't really dig in other properties like Lord of the Rings, but nevertheless the lack of it here is kind of making it even harder to pay attention. I got real excited for seeing a dick! This is our new regular segment. Dick alert, dick alert. I really thought this show was gonna be wall-to-wall titties, and got some dick, and that was nice. Thank you for the dick. Also, I officially confused 2 characters. At one point when we saw nipple shaving and dick sucking, and that was nice. Put that on the DVD of this show. So I thought that the fellow that did the nip shave and the dick suck was Dany's brother. Who, I'm still not even sure that's her brother. I'm pretty sure it's her brother. It looked like the same actor, but I don't know if it was. And now I'm like, did I zone out and miss like him dyeing his hair and going into hiding or something? And also, I didn't know either of those characters. I know one fought in the joust. I'll admit I got a little sidetracked there. I kind of zoned out. I'm sorry. There's very little to hold my interest here. It's kind of failing me on dialogue, on characters. Like, nobody's just jumping out at me. The most interested I've been is the sword fighting trainer. When he's not on screen, people should be wondering, where's the sword fighting trainer? Yeah, I think at this point there's just too many characters for me to follow, and I feel like this is the point of no return. I will not be able to keep them in my head going forward, and I guess that's okay. A lot of people have told me, yeah, I just pop the Wikipedia open and I follow along, and fair point. Star Trek does that too. And again, I'm not asking this show to be Star Trek. And by the way, I'm also not asking Star Trek to be Game of Thrones. Cut that shit out. It just seems to be the thing I come back to in terms of like nerd property that's extremely complex, but still I can follow one and the other I can't. And I want to know what in my noggin is like wired so specifically that one just goes, yeah, and one is like, ooh, ah. And I think for me it comes down to I like stories about 1 to 8 characters with a common goal and how they all fit together to accomplish that goal. And that's what Star Trek is. Like, there's not a ton of interpersonal conflict. It's all 8 of us are gonna do this thing. And this is like 45 people all want 97 things. Try to keep track of it, and I can't. It's a Jenga tower failure for me. Like anytime I'm like, I get this one, I understand this one, oh, maybe this. Some guy said a thing about you should kill a woman after you have sex with her. That's how we know he's a bad guy, right? Probably. I think this show sometimes runs into the problem of, oh, a bad guy said it, so it's bad, but like, I feel like this show doesn't play that way, and then you're left to figure out, well, what are your values? Or just turn your brain off and enjoy. Just turn your brain off and enjoy it. What are you doing? There's no morals in fiction. This shouldn't. No, art's just about, is it a story well told? That's all that matters. Turn your brain off. Just turn your brain off. Just forget about all the violence and assault and how it speaks to different groups of people. Just turn your brain off. Just turn your brain off and enjoy it. Just reach and just turn the switch. Just flick the, just turn. Season 1, Episode 6, A Golden Crown. I missed. There's only one God, death, and we only have one thing to tell him, not today. Sword fighting guy is back! Forgot his name, but still, boom, he's back, love him. Just when I thought I couldn't love anyone more, along comes little thuddy sticky boy to beat on Tyrion. He's great too. Was there a third character I liked? Nope, can't think of a third one. Oh, wait, Titty Boy. I gotta go straight to this. First you've got, like, Story Grandma who's just like, oh, you want the scary stuff? You want the dirty stuff? Ah. And, like, that seemed very much like George commenting on the viewers. And then Titty Boy who's just like, yeah, finish the dirty story, kill the fucking guy, ah! Like, he seems like a meta commentary on the fans of the show, or maybe I'm just projecting that because that's what I see fans of the show as. You gotta at least have a laugh at yourself that, like, you're kinda just here for like that shit, which I'm not saying people are here just for that shit, but I feel like that's what got the show noticed, because wow, shows don't do this. I wanted to see how Tyrion was getting out of the prison. I wanted a science mystery. I didn't get it. I got a diplomacy mystery, or a lying mystery. I will say, I was thinking, oh shit, a Lannister always pays his debts is maybe a thing that they tell people, but then they don't actually do. But then he did it, so that was pretty neat. Time for classic Tyrion. What Tyrion trait do I relate to? When Tyrion's in trouble, he tells a sob story, does his own version of the Aristocrats, and then gets someone to fight for him. I don't do that anymore. Thanks, therapy. What else happened? Dany ate a heart? But Dany's real heart, the manicurist, was back yet again. There was a beautiful scene of them sitting together, and they looked like a happy couple. And I want this. I want this for them so bad. I feel like I should probably stop calling Dany's friend the manicurist when she really is her sex teacher. I think it goes beyond sex. I think it is genuine affection and love. I've never seen Dany's eyes go quite so wide. I mean, maybe when she was looking at an egg. Oh! Something that'll clear up the mystery if the dick sucking was done by Dany's brother, because I can't tell, because one looks like, they look like the same actor, but one has really white hair and one has dirty blonde hair, but maybe it's the lighting. Don't have to worry about that problem anymore, because if I see Mr. Dick suck, I know it's not Dany's brother, because Dany's brother got a face melty. If it was supposed to be intense, I thought it looked so dumb, and it was really hammily overacted. And maybe the mood of this show, I'm starting to realize, like, I feel like people were treating it like it was The Godfather. I also don't like The Godfather. Come for me some other time. I was laughing my ass off when they did the old gold bukkake on him, like, just, I don't know. I'm really curious if I was watching this with someone, if they would laugh too. I'm still kind of waiting for Dany to be a character. Like, I don't know, Dany feels like an empty vessel, maybe in the same way that Luke Skywalker or Neo or Harry Potter are an empty mask, and you're supposed to just stick yourself in there. I just feel like she is a collection of reactions to things, and I'm not quite feeling the character yet, but maybe the show's playing it kind of close to the vest, I'm not sure. I know she wants those dragons. She wants to mommy those dragons. She's all about being that dragon mommy. Oh, I don't know when this video is coming out, but boy, the whole "you don't fight with honor," he did. That sure doesn't seem relevant to current political debates, and as of this taping, I mean October 1st, when the first presidential debate has happened. I was baffled by the fact that a lot of my progressive friends really liked this show in the beginning, and I remember thinking like, oh, do you like it as a snapshot of what you imagine is happening in a conservative's head? If so, that kind of seems to check out with the whole "he fought with honor." Yeah, well, he fucking died, so fuck you, and fuck this guy, and fuck everything. Kill and fuck until you win. Game of Thrones! Kill and fuck until you win! I don't know. I don't want to watch kill and fuck until you win. I want you to dance until you win. I want you to ramp cars into things until you win. You know what? Who needs to win? But that's the whole thing of the show, right? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win the Game of Thrones? Is now a good time to say, I know who wins? Like, that was spoiled. People were all like, you have a month, and then we're gonna start spoiling it. And I was like, I'm never gonna watch this show. What else happened in this episode? I don't know. Some guy spilled a bag of fish. Oh, we think Joffrey might be illegitimate. Jean Grey got all smoochy with Joffrey, and she loves him, and she's super into him. I forgot to check the opening credits for Jon Bernthal. It's gotta be him! I got 10 seconds left. I hope Danny and the Manny get together. I hope Danny and the sex teacher teach each other everything. I want her to be the love teacher. Season 1, Episode 7. I don't remember the title. I don't give a fuck. Houses, clans, rightful heirs. Things I remember. There was some crazy fucking in the beginning while the guy that looks like Gary Oldman, Dr. Smith, just gave a speech, and I got so fucking mad at it, and I want to talk about why I don't like HBO sometimes. Porn exists, and it's real good, because it just leans into the kinky shit. But, like, I don't know. This is just like... You know, when you try to mix two musical genres and you're not doing either one a favor, two lesbians are just fucking, and this blowhard's telling a story about, like, everything in life is fucking, that's me. Like, okay, whatever, that's so damn deep. I just wanted to yell at him, could you shut the fuck up? And then I wanted to yell at them, could you stop fucking for a second? I'm sure it was a great speech, and I'm sure it was a great ass fingering, but I couldn't pay attention to either. I like kinky stuff in TV shows, but, like, I like it subtle. It's funny that I mentioned that he looks like the guy from the 90s Lost in Space, because watch the 60s Lost in Space. It's kinkier than Game of Thrones. I'm dead serious. Watch any old show. Put on some Buck Rogers, like, watch Wonder Woman, like, a lot of old TV, Batman 66, that stuff's kinkier than modern stuff. Because modern stuff just puts the fucking right in there. You watch an old show and somebody just comes out like Bamf and leather and glitter and you're just like, oh. Fingering assholes aside. That guy's name is Littlefinger, isn't it? Who am I supposed to be rooting for? Literally every time I'm like, you seem cool. You make some speech about how you're going to trigger warning. Jesus Christ. I don't even know how to talk about this show in a way that's fun. I miss TV you can talk about that's fun. I love getting together with my pals and talking about a Twilight Zone. Like, Jesus, sorry, it's starting to get to me. Let's focus on the good. What did I like? My OTP might be changing. It used to be Danny and her sex teacher, who still, oh god, they're so cute together, and like they kind of went out as like a squad, and they went and got some drinks, but it was a little too strong. But like John and Sam, I want to see them get together. I'd put money down that John and Sam are gonna stay besties, which is a real shame, because if you're gonna rip off Lord of the Rings, at least keep the queer subtext too. I'm rooting for them both because I think they're really cute and sweet together, and also because you don't see chubby gays a lot. I might be vested in seeing more cute chubby queers in my media. I just love the two of them. I love their vibe. I love how like they don't want to leave each other's side. And like, is there anything more queer than renouncing your family's religion so you and your friend John can go worship a tree? Like, that describes half my friends. Oh, I remember this. I think the show is bothering me because it feels like kids playing pretend and not like anything well thought out. And I get that like it's a surprise because narratives are supposed to have setups and payoffs, and this one goes, bleh. It feels like kids playing when one kid's like, I'm the king, I'm dying, and on my deathbed I say Joffrey gets the throne. And then another guy's like, nuh-uh, the rightful heir gets the throne. And then someone else is like, nuh-uh, I rip up the document from the king. And then I was waiting for like Ned to be like, well, I have a jetpack, it's invisible and bulletproof. What the fuck is Dany and Call's deal? I can't tell how they feel about each other. They started getting a little flirty and cute in this one, and then he started like yelling about, you know, taking child slaves and sexual assault, and she had a big smile on her face, and I'm sure it was because he was going to take over some kingdom, but I'm zoning hard on this. I like television because I can escape for 45 minutes, and now I need to escape for 8 fucking years. I'm not against long narratives, per se. I don't know. I don't think this is good television. I don't think it's good writing. I lump it in with Lost and the new Battlestar Galactica for like, hey, it's still going, so we haven't dropped all the balls yet. And it's like, they think they're juggling, but they just threw a bunch of balls in the air. That's the best I can describe it. Just a bunch of balls in the air. I think that's what it is. I think I'm seeing a bunch of balls be thrown in the air, and I'm being told it's juggling. And that's why I don't like it. Like someone juggling 3 balls is more impressive than somebody throwing 50 balls in the air and going, ah! I'm sure if I tracked the path of every one of those juggling balls you threw, I'm sure it would be amazing to try to chart on a graph. But like, this is pretty cool. Feels nice. Holds it together. I'd rather see this. So many people told me, oh, it's really political, you'd like it. I don't like political things. Like in life, weirdly, I'm actually very vested in them and interested. But in stories, I'm just like, this is all fake. I don't want to expend a single extra amount of brain power on this. I'm not I memorized all the classes of starship type. I'm not I memorized all the different flavors of dragon. Nothing wrong with it, just not my cup of tea. Season 1, episode 8, the Pointy End. If I'm going to die, I might as well do it with a song in my heart. Classic Tyrion. Also, suddenly wolf! We had yet another suddenly wolf moment. Also, dick alert. Hodor. Way to go, Dor. I was just more distracted by the special effects. It didn't look great, which then made me aware that it was probably a special effect, which then made me think, oh, why did it need to be a special effect? And then I had weird, sad feelings about like, oh, I mean, it's fine for the story, I guess. It must be important to the story. A Shodor and a Grodor. Anyway, let's not dwell on Hodor's penis. I had my first moment of feeling like, yay, I'm watching a fantasy story. And I really enjoyed that. I think the idea conceptually of Cyril, the sword fighter, the sword master, the sword teacher, using a wooden sword against actual swords and being so good at his swordplay that he takes down people with metal swords, and I really liked that. But also, there was that moment where, like, I didn't quite know if they were coming for him. Like there's that moment where he's like, get out of here, and like he's up against the ropes, and I thought, oh no, I feel like this is the philosophy of the show. Like, fuck you for having hope. I was waiting for like, so when is the smash cut to Cyril didn't make it and you're a fucking fool for believing in him? Didn't happen. Never came. Hey, I think I spotted the Punisher. But then I checked the end credits and still no Jon Bernthal. But I think Jon Bernthal was in this. I think he's Aquaman's buddy. This is driving me nuts. Is Jon Bernthal in this show or not? This made me think a lot about, like, when you make a fantasy or a sci-fi thing, a lot of times you're just kind of repeating your dialogue. I think it's kind of the cliche of like, you know, the classically trained actor being stuck in some sci-fi schlock. I wonder if like Charles Dance was like, I don't know what I'm saying, who gives a fuck. Danny's squad is taking on kind of a biker bitches aesthetic now. I really like that. I enjoy that journey for them. Love the girl gang, and I want more of the girl gang. But they just kind of seem to be in tow rather than having their own storylines now, and that makes me kind of sad. But at least they're all doing the fingerless glove, you know, badass ladies thing. I thought it was interesting that like Danny is kind of softening Cal's stances on things. Oh, the eunuch. I like the eunuch. The eunuch is nice. I'm waiting for him to turn out to be evil, because who doesn't? He just seems nice, and that's about all I have to say, is like, he's just there in the background being nice, so I'm waiting for the reveal where he's, you know, doing something sneaky, because who isn't in this damn show? The lady in chains, I don't know what her deal is. I think I've seen her in something else, and I liked her in whatever that was. Sorry, this is my life. I have a wolf mask. I was gonna put it on for the Suddenly Wolf bit, because you can't be a YouTuber without costumes and expensive lighting and micro edits and upper middle class parents. But I couldn't find it, so I guess except this wig that I just found in a bag right next to me. Suddenly Wolf! Oh! It's the Suddenly Wolf sketch, everyone. I'm really burning out here. I'm burning out. I've just wholesale missed out on some shit. Joffrey's the king. We hate Joffrey. Joffrey, you love to hate him is what I hear, but I'm just bored by him. Fucking hell. I don't know how to fill these last 2 minutes. I've hit my first episode where I can't fill these last 2 minutes. Can I end early? There was a sentiment I wanted to share that I don't know if it's accurate, but like, it's the idea that like you can be listening to a guitar solo that is technically and mathematically proficient, but it just doesn't sound good. And I think that might be what this show is like, it may all be very complex and all connected and interrelated, and it's got all these complex things woven together, but at the end of the day, does it fucking slap? And sometimes you'll hear a song and someone will be like, he's playing it in 7/28 time and he's using, you know, micro pentatonic reverse scale, and you're like, yeah, but it sounds like shit. Like, you know, Smoke on the Water is better than a fucking equation. And I feel like I'm watching an equation and being told, like, it rocks, and I'm just kind of like, sure, music is subjective. I'm so fucking out. Season 1, Episode 9. Baelor! Ba-na-na-na-na-na. What's in it for you? The pleasure of my company. Classic Tyrion. I felt like we just slowed things down, and we had just a nice hanging with Tyrion moment, and I liked that. I like his lady friend. She's interesting. Like Tyrion's drinking game. Classic Tyrion. Especially thinking he can size people up and then realizing he can't. I loved that he got bonked on the head to save on the battle budget, because I'm gonna level with you. Battles are never interesting to me. A fight is interesting if two people or two spaceships or two boats or what have you are going at it. Usually pretty interesting. If 400 spaceships or 800 boats or 16,000 people are fighting each other, it's kind of just chaos all over your screen. There's the awe, there's the spectacle. You know, there's always a nice wide shot where you're just like, wow, the chaos. But like overall, it's kind of boring. So I gotta be honest, I kind of fucking cheered when he got bonked on the noggin and then just woke up. And I cheered on two levels. I cheered on the production level, just like they did it. They kept the budget down. And then I also cheered on a story level, like, oh good, because I was like gonna be so fucking bored by a big battle scene. Just all the ting-tings. Like, again, like 2 to 5 people having a ting, go for it. But like 40,000 tings is just noise. I don't remember much else outside of Tyrion. There was some blood magic. Saw some magic, but like didn't see some magic because it was in a tent. I don't know what they were doing. Something got real growly in there. They godfathered the fuck out of that horse. Horse has got a lot of juice. I'm guessing it was a combination of animatronic, probably a little CGI to cover some things, and like an actual equestrian actor. Like honestly, I don't even know what Charles Dance's whole deal is. Who is he? Where's he from? He's somebody's brother. I don't know. I hope season 2 starts with like, if you missed it, here's the stuff you need to know, because I'm lost without a map. And every episode opens with a map. At the beginning of this, the recap teased Serial's wooden sword battle, but if they ever confirmed that he died, I missed it. So I don't know why they set it up as such an important thing. Maybe the importance there was that they were coming for Maisie Face. But to me, I just want to know what happened to Cereal. Cereal's my favorite. I'm probably still saying it wrong. I'm sure I've made a stupid graphic with him on a cereal box, and his name's probably not Cereal. In case anyone's wondering, for comedic integrity, in the filming I'm not looking anything up. When I go to edit it, I will look it up and laugh at how wrong I am about all of this. Joffrey's the king. Yeah, they killed Sean Bean. I knew that going in only because it's such a meme about killing Sean Bean. I cracked a joke to nobody. Wow, Sean Bean was full of birds, because when they cut his head off, there's like a noise, and I think it's his head falling off, and then suddenly they cut to a flock of birds, and like, as an editor, I just kind of laughed, like, oh, it looks like they're implying he was full of birds. Like, I know it's probably just an artistic choice, but like, in my mind, slice, oh, fuck! That wasn't Sean Bean, that was 40 birds in a coat, clever ruse. I'm sure that was very shocking when it aired, and I am gonna, like, you know, not rob it of what a probably shocking moment that was. Like, I do want to admit that when you wait on a show for so long that you've heard a lot of the big things about it, they don't have as much shock. So that I'm not gonna hold that as a point against the show that like, oh, I knew he was gonna die. Like, that's not the show's fault. Like, I think that would have been legitimately shocking if I didn't know it was coming. Hell, I didn't know it was coming when I watched Lord of the Rings. But also, I didn't care about his character in that either. Alec Trevelyan for life. I feel like I have less and less to talk about every episode because there's just less and less I recall Drogo. That's stupid. Oh, I think this episode was the one where we meet, like, the king, who's, like, got a child bride. The king has a creepy line about, you know, his child bride. And I feel like that conveys the information. But then just to, like, have a scene where he's, like, patting her down and we linger on a tear, that seems like it's fetishizing it. And that made me really uncomfortable. And this is a thing I'm just going to have to talk about when we do this show here, this thing I've decided to do with my life. Do you need to show it? Like, do you need to linger on it? I mean, I feel like the argument is, oh, well, he's a bad guy, so, like, we want to emphasize that. Like, I feel like his line was enough, but, like, to show it and to zoom in on it, like, what are you saying to people who have experienced something like that? I feel like it can be conveyed as part of the plot without having to be gawked at. I got 30 seconds left. I'm kind of really starting to embrace Tyrion, but I almost feel like that's the way the show is designed. Latch onto the character that you like, join us for the rest. And the weird thing is like, I'm not even head over heels over Tyrion. Just like, I think he's the funnest character so far. I see why everybody really likes him. And yeah, I can't believe I'm one episode away. So let's get motivated, let's get focused, let's get ice cream. I really want some ice cream. I think I'm gonna do that. Fire and Blood, Season 1, Episode 10, Fire and Blood. Let me get to something I want to talk about. So, like, I feel like I've avoided everything about Game of Thrones just because I knew maybe one day I'd watch it to pay rent in the middle of a pandemic. I just kind of had a hunch for a whole decade. And I avoided everything Game of Thrones. Any comedy thing about Game of Thrones ever, I tried to avoid it. I think I saw an SNL sketch once, and of course I was just confused. I've tried to avoid everything about Game of Thrones, but I have a hunch that when YouTubers talked about Game of Thrones, usually in front of their colored lights and their comic books that make them look cool, mine are like way back there, but like I can zoom in, it's mostly Fantastic Four. But like when they talk about King Joffrey, I'm guessing it looks a little something like this, probably a big thumbnail. And then, like, oh my god, don't you love to hate him? Oh, I can't wait to see this guy get his comeuppance. I can't wait to see the vengeance for King Joffrey. And I'm the other way around. I have a better solution, which is just to turn off the show. I felt this very viscerally, as like, oh my god, look at him be such a shit. Like, dragging someone out to look at their own father's head on a pike, and then asking a guy to smack her in the face. It's not that this stuff shouldn't be in art, but like, nothing I've seen today made me think like, wow, that was a really nuanced take on being a victim. Like, this show is full of victims of many heinous things, and just any time I'm just like, it only seems like flavor text to be like, world sure sucks, huh? A lot of people I know were like, I jumped out season 2, I couldn't take it anymore, and I'm like, I can guess what happens in season 2 just on those context clues. Moments I liked. I was just kind of staring at the screen, zonked out, not caring whose family betrayed whose and which battle went to these guys because of this piece of law that whatever, I don't care. Political intrigue is an oxymoron to me. People in large groups suck. That's politics. There you go. One thing that made me laugh out loud when Sam eats it on that tree branch. I was so sad to be alone. He got watch your head grannied hard.
Watch your head, Granny.
Didn't expect Call to die. Didn't see that coming, but also didn't care. I was just more like, all right, that's one less person to have to keep in my head. Which, to be honest, like, I hope that's where the show keeps going. I hear everybody dies on this show, and I'm just kind of like, great, less people to remember. I'm finding so much trouble trying to find the tone of every single character. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like them, and maybe that's the point, and I'm so tired of it. Oh, it's more adult because it's nuanced. Not everyone's just good or bad. Well, that's just what things were like back then. Really, with the dragons, you made this world, you can do what you want. All worlds are made up. If something is shitty in a made-up world, you don't have to accept it. I don't want to get too, like, moral high horse about it. I just don't get what's fun about a lot of it. It feels like it's trying to be high art trash, and, like, I can't tell. I cannot get a beat on it. And I feel like it's just kind of reiterating a lot of my suspicions when I only had cultural osmosis to go on. I can't remember much else that happened. They burned a witch. And Daenerys gave a speech about like, yo, I'm the queen now. We're gonna do things different. I freed all the slaves. A bunch of them ran away. I'm done. I'm baked. I'm zonked. I was planning to do a recap at the end of every season. If I can be real with you, that's not gonna happen. I'm kind of out of things to say. But what I can do is eat a Frosty and then try to draw a chart of everyone I can remember in Game of Thrones. Come with me, won't you? Alright, this is my actual chart trying to recap all of the characters and relationships from Season 1 of Game of Thrones. You got your Khal Drogo, who is dead. Khal Drogo is in love, with Daenerys Targaryen, who should actually be in love with her Mani-Pedi squad. She killed a witch, she burned her alive. That witch, I believe, tried to revive Khal Drogo. I don't know what the symbol for revive is, but let's put that in there. Daenerys had a brother, who I don't remember his name, but I want to say it sounded similar, like Snavarius. Pretty close, right? Snavarius Targaryen. There were nipple-shaving, dick-sucking buddies, and I can't tell if Snavarius was one of them, and I actually don't know if they've ever come back in the series, because I can't tell what's going on ever at any time. Okay, House Lannister. You got Cersei, who is the wife of King Flintstone, who I call that because he was in a Flintstones movie that I believe went direct to video. I think his name is Robert Baratheon, but I could be completely fucking wrong. He is married to Cersei Lannister, but it is not a happy marriage, and they acknowledge this. More power to him. Cersei is the sister and also the fucker of Jaime Lannister, and their union has yielded Joffrey and possibly other children, but I don't remember and I don't care. Tyrion is brother to, I assume, both of them, and uncle to Joffrey. Tyrion is also in love with a sex worker whose name I forgot, but she does have a great smoky eye. Tyrion is uncle to Joffrey, and Tyrion was kidnapped by Lady Stark. I don't remember Lady Stark's name, but hopefully I get that soon. So we'll move to House Stark in a bit. Tyrion also works with Charles Dance. Relationship unknown? I think his name might be Tywin Lannister, but I'm not sure. I think at one point he talked about being a Lannister, and they mentioned a Tywin, so I'm gonna assume it's him. How do you get from a Lannister to a Stark? Little little Joffrey and some Sansa over here. Sansa's head over heels for Joffrey, who turns out to be king shit. So that's toxic. So that gets you to the Starks. Sansa is the sister of Arya Stark and Bran Stark, who are the children of Ned Stark and Lady Stark. There's also Jon Snow, bastard. Jon Snow, I don't actually know which of these two people is his actual parent. I don't know how bastards work. Jon Snow is in love with Samwell. Bran Stark is, I didn't really designate like romantic love and friendly love, so let's just assume they're all romantic love. Bran Stark is buddy pals with Hodor, who has a huge cock. And Arya Stark is buddy pals with Serial Swordfighter. That's not his real name. I think his name is Surreal? It's somewhere between Surreal and Serial, but in my mind, he's Serial Swordfighter. He's the best character in the entire show, with Tyrion at a close second. I saw that, and I think, oh yes, Bran Stark saw that Jaime and Cersei were doing the fuck, and then he was pushed out a window. Serial Swordfighter, I think, was killed, but I don't know. Unless I'm not paying attention, somehow Serial Swordfighter survived, and I believe was killed by someone from House Rando, which would include Littlefinger, a eunuch whose name I think is Breus, and they're like rivals who respect each other. There are also knights, the Hound and the Mountain. I think one of them killed Serial Swordfighter. And then the last one is boring interchangeable people. There's like 14 of them, and I can't tell them apart, so that's my best attempt. Let's see, what else can we do to wrap up the season? Oh, I know. Predictions. What do I think is going to happen? Well, I know this show is famous for, I didn't see that coming. But I will say this, I think every female character at some point is going to get to give a big fuck you to every guy who ever screwed her over, except one. But I don't know which one. But I think the show is going to do that. Someone is going to have the opportunity to do the big middle finger and then get their middle finger chopped off. And we're all going to go, no, you were so close. Because that's good storytelling. If I had to predict, Tyrion's too fun. Tyrion's going to make it a long way down. Bran is too innocent. Bran's going to make it all the way down. I think one of the kids is going to die. I think it'll be Sansa. I think Arya's just got too much going on. I think she's too interesting a character. Does YouTube do end plates anymore? I don't know, but hey, check out my website and check out my Patreon. And I made all the music for this, so if you like it, go buy some. Thank you to all my supporters. Their names are going to come up on the screen really soon. Literally could not do this without you. Y'all are amazing. And as they say on Game of Thrones, a dragon is like a woman. Get a horse. Bye, everybody. See you in Season 2.